teenage girl.
Right, okay. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Des Moines County Board of Supervisors meeting, December 6, 2012. How about 22? You didn't catch that, did you? Okay, good. We shall meet with department heads and elected officials. Sarah Doty, payroll clerk for the auditor's office.
Good morning. Nothing new to report at this time, just keeping busy as usual.
Okay, thank you. Lisa Schaefer, county attorney's office.
Just going along and getting along. Sort of.
Sound like you're getting along too good.
I sound far worse than I feel.
Okay, good. Colin Gerst, IT.
Keeping busy like always. Pretty excited this weekend. We're going to be launching the new county website. If all goes well, we're going to try to do that Thursday afternoon. So going to get quite a bit different look. A little easier to manage, a little easier to get around. Should be a lot easier for the department heads to be able to update their information and stuff on the site as well. So looking forward to that. But other than that, nothing new to report.
Okay, thanks, Colin. Sheriff Glendenning, see you've been busy.
Yeah. We had Toys for Tots this past weekend. That was a great event that we're proud to be a part of with the Marine Corps League and all the sponsors and community support. It was great to see everybody show up. This coming weekend we have Shop with a Cop, and that's all area law enforcement, Burlington, West Burlington State Patrol, and us, and we get to go hang out with some area youth, have some breakfast and play basketball and other things, and then we get to take them shopping. So it's just a really neat experience to be a part of. So that'll be going on Saturday. There'll be a long parade of emergency vehicles making their way out to Dick's Sporting Goods and then Walmart. So be prepared for that. We always get a bunch of calls from the community about what's going on, but that's what's going to be happening. At our jail, we have 94 this morning. 7 of those were in intake, so kind of a busy day last night and yesterday. 15 out of county. I believe like 9 of those are waiting on placement at the halfway house, 1 for prison, and then 1 for mental health placement. So about 11 that we're just we're holding on to right now, just waiting for placement elsewhere. And it's just kind of the standard that we're at right now, looking for room. So.
Of 11, that'd take that 93 down, 94 down quite a little bit.
Yeah, we'd be down in the mid 80s, and
Yeah.
7 in intake, we'd be down in the 70s. So it's, I mean, we're whittling away, getting down more to manageable, but
But
we're-
$600 a day that the state's not taking, they're making us pay for it.
yeah, it does get costly when we're paying for out-of-county housing, so.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Sheriff. Terry Johnson, county auditor.
Good
For
morning.
A little bit longer.
For a little bit longer, yes. We're just staying busy in the office. We're still working on finishing up election stuff and getting all of that tucked away and taken care of. Staying busy.
Okay, thank you. Trent, how's the county attorney, got anything to add to that?
No, I'm here for, we got civil update later on, but
Okay. Appreciate that. Chris Lee, conservation.
Our Nature Center staff is hosting a winter camp. Starts December 27th through 29th, so over the winter break. It's for 7 to 9-year-olds. We do have some slots open still if folks want to register for that. And then I do want to note that the shotgun deer season opened this last weekend and will be open for the next 2 weekends. And so several of our conservation areas are public hunting areas, including Big Hollow. And so we just encourage folks to kind of pay attention out there. If you're just out there to hike a trail or something, wear bright colors so that you can be seen. We don't get a lot of overlap between the recreational users and the hunters, just due to timing of the year, but it's always something we like to throw out there. So, otherwise, just kind of keep it on.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Zach James, regional planning.
Yeah, good morning. We've got the wind and solar ordinances out for review still. I think we gave till the end of this week maybe, I believe, for comments. So to you guys, the supervisors, and some of the other folks that we sent it to. If you get a chance to take a look at it and get some feedback to us by the end of the week, we would appreciate that. Otherwise, things are pretty normal, just kind of routine things going on at the office, and then we got an agenda item for a reappointment to the Board of Adjustment.
Okay, thanks, Zach. Chris Miller, Public Health.
Good morning. We're continuing to be busy. We're still offering COVID and flu vaccine on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so anyone who's still interested, we still have some available.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hope you had a nice vacation.
I did, thank you.
Good. Brian Carter, Secondary Roads.
Good morning. Still going, a lot of things going on with the mild weather, I guess. So we're still ditching out on Beaverdale and doing some other projects actually on Beaverdale too. And then the bridge crew on 99 is making headway still. So good weather at the moment, so we're still moving.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Janelle, how's the treasurer's office?
Good morning. We're busy. I do have an agenda item that, and I guess I'll mention that we're still taking applications for the clerk 2 position. We're actually 2 positions now, so that'll go through Monday.
Okay, thank you. Angie, how's the safety department for you?
Good morning, we're doing good. To hit off of something that Chris said, it is hunting season, so just a reminder, be on the watch out for the deer. I noticed coming on the off-ramp, or coming off the off-ramp of the bridge, there was 2 deer carcasses on the entry of the bridge. They're on the move, they can be anywhere, so keep your eyes open, watch for what you're doing, and be careful.
I seen several of them out in the fields this morning. I kinda thought maybe them hunters running out of the timber and just
Yeah.
out in the fields.
Yeah, they know they're not dumb, they know to run and hide when it comes
Yeah.
this time of year, so you'll see them in places that you wouldn't normally see them, so just, everyone needs to really be careful on that.
Thanks, Angie. Natalie, how's the recorder's office?
Good morning. Recorder's office is good. We are seeing a little bit more traffic with the hunting season and the deer tags. Also, just a reminder that ATVs, OHVs do expire on December 31st, so a few more weeks to get those renewed without a penalty.
Okay, thank you. Rodney Leader, how's the maintenance department?
Good morning. Doing well. Nothing new to report this morning.
It was a little dark when I come up here this morning, but they got that fixed already. Thanks, Rod. Did I miss anybody? No, don't see if I missed anybody, so. We shall move on to correspondence. I have none here. Do either of you gentlemen have any correspondence?
I have none.
Should move on to discussion and vote. We have accounts payable claims, in the amount of $617,402.74.
Motion to approve. Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carey.
Yes. Okay, we have a decision on the donation of the Capitol Theater. This is, okay. Gentlemen, I was looking here for the original. What's your, on the Capitol Theater donation, what's your opinion?
What's my thought on it? Do I want to give them a donation? I went through the numbers. I feel like it's doable for the request.
Well, I understand, Zach, you need this so you can get a,
Yeah, I can give some background too. We had a work session, I don't know, a month
yeah,
or two
we had a
ago.
work station, and then you want,
And
a grant, you need the county to.
yeah, we're doing renovation up on the second
Yeah.
floor of the annex to bring Black Box Theater and some classrooms, and some other things to really expand some youth programming amongst some other things. And we're applying for a Community Catalyst Theater Program grant, actually it's due next week. It doesn't require a county contribution, but you get points for community participation. It's about 20% of the score. And then in January, there's a Community Attraction and Tourism grant through IEDA. where you have to have a county participation or else you can't get it without it. And I think I sent you the documentation right from the program. So we've got a couple grants and that we need, would help support those and just help be a good community partner, I think, on our project. And I think when we came, we made a request for $25,000 and that's what we'd asked for to consider. But whatever, yeah, it's up to you guys, I guess, to decide what you're open to doing. I don't know if you guys want to make any comments or say anything, but I mean, we already came and talked about it, so.
We don't want you to lose your, we don't want you to lose your grant, but, my idea on the participation at this point, you know, going over everything, what we got the budget coming up, I'm at $5,000 on, you know, that's where I'm at. I don't know about these gentlemen.
My feelings, Zach has heard me go through dozens of times about county contributions to certain things, and I think the making you eligible for a grant is the county's responsibility, but I don't think Des Moines County citizens elected us to give tax money to causes that we find worthy. But I'm in agreement with the $5,000.
And where are you at?
5.
Well, I mean, you guys got me outnumbered. You got me cornered. I'm surrounded. I felt like, I know where you guys are on that. I felt like 25 was a little more than I wanted to, but at the same time, I did want to be a contributor. Would you guys go 10?
I'm at 5.
I'm at 5.
Tom, would you go 5,500? I just wanted to see how long.
Let's start the auction.
This guy's not moving, friends. Let's give him $5,000.
You need a motion?
Yeah.
Motion to give $5,000 for the Capitol Theater project?
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
I suppose, man.
Jim Carrey?
Yeah. We have a reappointment for Mitch Tager. Whereas the Des Moines County Board of Supervisors approved the appointment to the Des Moines County Zoning Board of Adjustment, and whereas the Board of Adjustment member Mitch Tager has expressed interest in continuing to serve as a member of the Board of Adjustments following his most recent term, which expires November 30th, 2022. So, what's your wishes on that, gentlemen?
I move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell?
Yes.
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Jim Carrey?
Yes.
I'll just say real quick, Mitch has been a great member of the Board of Adjustment, and he'll do a great job moving forward too.
He should be familiar with the subject.
He's very familiar.
What's that, is that a 3-year term?
I think it was 5, but I could be wrong.
5. I suspect he'll be retired before the end of that term.
He can continue to serve even if he's retired, yes.
Just gotta talk him into it.
We'll try.
Okay, now we have personnel actions. We have one for the treasurer's office there. It's for Onyx McVeigh, and I want to thank her for coming back and helping part-time, because she's been a good asset to the.
Yes, I appreciate it too.
Yeah. Monica McVeigh, temporary part-time clerk 2 in the motor vehicle department. She will be an old new hire. She'll be a new hire, $19.36 an hour.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yep.
Jim Carrey?
Yes. two of them at the correctional center. We'll do both of these at the same time. The first one is Wesley Orth, correctional officer, full-time, 15.07 hours of unpaid leave. And the next one is Elizabeth Gorstead.
Grobstitch.
Okay, thank you. Resignation is going to be December the 12th will be her last day of work. And her rate of salary was $43,501.25.
Motion to approve. Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Elizabeth's goal was to get into law enforcement, and she started out as a correctional officer for us, and she's been hired by West Burlington, so she's gonna be going out there as an officer, so.
Give her our congratulations.
Thank her for her service and her
Yeah.
continued service.
You don't mind when you lose it locally, but when you lose it to other counties, that hurts.
Move on and achieve your goals.
Yeah. Okay, this one here is for secondary roads. Jeffrey Grudem, maintenance worker and truck driver, new hire, effective 12/12/22, new rate $22.07 an hour.
Motion to approve. Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Then we have one for Sheriff's Office, Administrative Assistant, Teresa Tripp, new hire at 37.5 hours a week. The rate will be $43,375.50 a year.
Motion to approve. Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Okay, now we have reports for the Veterans Affairs and the Recorder's Office. And these reports will be on file in the Auditor's Office for your reviewing at your own discretion. We have the minutes for the regular meeting on November the 29th, 2022.
Motion to approve. Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Is there any other business?
I have none.
I have none. Future agenda items? I have none. Committee reports?
I have none. Nothing to report.
I have nothing to report outside. I went to the 5th District ISAC up in Temple the other day along with the rest of them, and didn't, nothing really that new to add to it. And they just questioned a couple of senators about mental health became the biggest issue. Jack Stewart elected him as the new, they call it president,
President of the 5th District.
yeah, president, and
That's the Washington County
Washington
Supervisor.
County Supervisor
Yeah.
is Jack Stewart, and then Deke Woods is vice, and he's from Keokuk County.
Yeah. Good guys.
Yeah. Okay. Time for public input. We'll give you 2 minutes for public input to call 319-753-8203 extension 4 or email board@dmcounty.com. And I think there's a gentleman in here. There you go.
Am I the only one that isn't getting paid here today?
That's a good question.
Well, I feel out of place.
You do.
My first matter of business is Terry Johnson. How can she retire? I am older than her, so how does she get on before I do?
I like this guy already.
I just don't know how it works.
I'll apologize for Rick, he's shy.
Yeah, you guys know what I
Yeah.
want.
You wanna state your name for the record, Rick?
Rick Wirt.
You know your address?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Why don't you tell him, Terry?
It's what, was it?
I'm just a local farmer that's having a problem with that dirt road up there on the hill, and you've heard from me a few times. We couldn't get it closed 5 years ago or whenever. Too many people were having problems. Well, now here, this past summer, I couldn't get all the landowners' signatures, but that one.
Yeah.
Well, you guys changed that law. That's all done, so we don't need her signature. So now I want to go ahead and see what we can do about getting gates on this road just to shut it off when it's muddy, because the kids just tear it up and I can't get to my pasture. Just here in the last month or two, every time it rains a half inch, the kids are up there tearing it up, and they go down the side of the road and then they hit where the pipes are under the roads. If that was me, I'd lose a wheel or an axle, but they're lucky. But I'm just, all the landowners, everybody's for this. I mean, we'd just like to put gates on the ends of the roads, and we'll open them up when it's dry to keep all the people happy.
Okay, Rick, we'll take this into consideration. We got that new law in effect, so we'll take this into consideration, and it might be a couple weeks or
That's
two,
fine.
three, probably after the first year before we make a decision.
Yeah, that's fine.
Does this require a public hearing?
It will, we'll do a public hearing. I'll probably, what we've done in the past is the board has asked that I send out letters, just even though the petition is presented, just to make sure that the adjacent landowners know it's coming to the board as for an action. Take public input, that kind of a thing, give people a chance. So we'll probably send out letters just to the adjacent landowners unless the board asks me to go further than that. And I've already told Rick it's a busy time of year, so I don't think he's expecting anything next week by any means, but, and I'll take any public input or tell them, anybody that calls, that they're welcome to call you. So yes, we'll do a public hearing on this. And we'll pull out the ordinance and go through it in fine detail to make sure we follow the process.
We might want to put that back to after the first of the year.
We will. I don't see any way this is happening probably until after the budget hearings. Because I want to send something out, and you want to give folks a chance to call in and give their side. I think the board's always wanted that. So, yep. And I told Rick that already, that this will allow us to get going. He did this petition this summer. Of course, then we went through and amended the ordinance. And really, the only amendment to the ordinance was to allow for a petition to be presented without 100% of landowner signature. So the county's not changing. We didn't change policy or anything like that. And with work with Trent, they felt that the attorney's office felt it was a better ordinance anyway with that language modified. So I think it was good to clean that up no matter what. It does give this a chance to come in front of you and be considered. So
I've just been waiting. I want to build a new fence on the one side. But last fall, they slid off the road into our fence. It was there 10 years. They cut the fence to get out. Our cows could have got out. We're putting a new one in. I told my daughter we're not doing it this summer until we can see if we can get this road closed once muddy, because they'll do the same thing, do a brand new fence. And then I'll spend the rest of my life in jail.
Well,
I will find out who did it.
Earmuffs, Kevin.
I would share your displeasure for that. Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, well, I was kind of waiting to see if you even remembered, or if you was all gonna be in this room anymore after,
We better get this gentleman some gates.
There you go, you got somebody for you right there.
Yeah, but my main concern is Terry. I'd like to know how this is working.
Okay, thanks, Rick, we appreciate it.
I'll come back if necessary.
I'll stay in touch with Rick about the timing of everything.
Yeah, we have our budget hearings coming up, so this might go into the first part of February too, Rick, but
That's fine.
Okay.
Well, Tom, he knows Don Heinze real good, and Heinze, he's ready to put the post in the ground.
Yeah.
He wants to get started this weekend.
There you
And
go.
I told him, it ain't gonna happen that fast, though.
Yeah, okay, I appreciate that.
And like I said, I would furnish the gates and the posts, just because I'll do it. Nobody's gonna mess with what I put in. No offense, but you guys might go to Farm King and buy the cheapest gates you can find.
Surely not.
Well, Carter,
I'd like to give us more credit than that, but that's.
I think he's talking about us rather than you.
Should have brought popcorn, it's coming down.
Okay,
Heads up.
okay,
We won't forget you.
yeah.
A lot of people don't. Colin Wagon Box, one time I was over at the elevator and we had a little difference of opinion. I was mad because he didn't take me to Canada fishing with him. Yeah, we were just joking good naturally, but we kept pouring it on him and he got red and mad and he left. And I told the elevator guy, I said, I think we overdid it, Marty. And he said, I think you overdid it. And I left, I saw him a half hour later, I drove to his place and I apologized. You know, he said, I'll give you credit, Rick, if you got something on your mind, you'll say it. But I apologized to him. He still didn't take me fishing, but.
That probably won't change.
No.
Okay, thanks a lot, Rick. So, like I
Thanks.
said, it's probably first part of February, around that.
Yeah, no hurry.
Okay. Okay, we shall now, we're going into closed session with county attorney to discuss the pending litigation in accordance with Iowa Section Code 21.5C.
Thanks, Rick.
I moved that we go into closed session. Second.
Tell Sandy and Chris hi.
Shane Campbell. Tom Broker.
Yes.
And Carrie.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to end the closed session.
Second.
Sir?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah. With an eye, we're out of here.
Aye.
Aye.
Did we still have to do phone call in first?
We already did that.
We did that.
We did it when Rick talked.
Oh, my bad. I was just asking a question. You don't gotta get funky, PC. I don't even remember addressing you. I was talking to you.
Time passed over.
You remember Rick, right?
Is that a threat? All right, let's do it.
Do we want to start the work session now?
We don't have everybody here for the.
Okay. So then
We are out of here.
Who else coming?
There's someone from the police department, Kevin, someone from the schools, someone from the judicial district, I don't know who else.
We're gonna take
We
a
got
five,
people.
we're gonna take a 5-minute break.
And I have to go to the bathroom, so.
Okay.
Time out, let's go.
Is this a long work session or a short one?
I don't know, it depends on how talkative people are, cause I'm not gonna be very.
Okay.
What is it? We got that one.
Oh, Nick, you only shot that.
Okay, we're here for a work session with the county attorney, the Burlington Police, the sheriff's office, and everybody, and supervisors. Would you, let's just take our names so we know who's here on the record. We'll start over here with Mr. Schaefer.
Adam Schaefer, Burlington PD.
Rob Rohr, Burlington Police Department.
Chris Lee, Conservation Board.
Kevin Glendenning, Des Moines County Sheriff's Office.
Doug Urban, Des Moines County Jail.
Nick Baker, Probation Parole.
Christopher Miller, Des Moines County Public Health.
Melissa Mace, Justice of All Service Coordinator for the SEAL Region. Aaron Moffra, Burlington County School District.
Nobody thought. You know, you're big enough, you could hide somebody back there, that's why I'm looking around. Okay, and Lisa, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. I'm taking off my mask. I don't have COVID, but I don't want to share it either. The reason I asked you all here today was some of you may be aware that the Des Moines County is one of the litigants in the national opioid litigation with various manufacturers, distributors, and pharmacies throughout the nation with regard to how opioids have been advertised, dispensed, leading to the epidemic that we're dealing with now, which clearly I think with all the law enforcement folks here can attest that we are seeing actually in our county. So the reason we are here is we, as in the various litigants, have achieved settlements with some of the defendants that have been sued. There are 2 separate settlements that were entered into last year, and I apologize if my voice goes out. One was with Johnson & Johnson, also known as Janssen, who is a major manufacturer, as well as a group of distributors. I do not remember the names off the top of my head. There's still multiple litigation out there with Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, several national chains, as well as manufacturers and other distributors. But these were the first 2 settlements that were reached. And in doing so, Des Moines County is the recipient of some funds. So this might just be easier. Right now, this is the money that we have in our bank account. When I say our, I mean the county's bank account under this specific provision. The settlements payments are to go over a period of 18 years. Clearly, you can see that they are moving ahead of schedule with Janssen, as well as we have 2 payments from the distributors. So the total, for those who don't do math like me, the treasurer gave us is $255,000 and $8.37. Then for the next 16 to 17 years, just from these defendants, we will get on average $45,000 a year. That could change. That will also change depending on where we reach settlements, if we do reach settlements with some of the other defendants. I do know that CVS particularly has been trying to test the litigation waters. Now they're in the hole for $64 billion just in the state of Ohio and the state of Vermont. So my guess is we're anticipating, and I think there's another case, it might be West Virginia, that I think is getting ready to go to trial next year. But if the pattern continues, my guess is we're going to see some of those people come to the settlement table. So the reason I have called all of you here is we can't just let it sit in the county coffers in perpetuity. We have to use it. The question is, what are we going to use it for? The settlement agreements require that they go for any programming that will help abate the opioid epidemic. It's very, very open. The question, so I brought all of you here so we can start to brainstorm ideas of what we're going to do with this money. Ultimately, it's as the county, as they are the litigator, they will get the final say-so. But I wanted to start this process so within the next 6 to 8 months, we can come to the board with a resolution of this is where we want this money to go. It does not have to go to the same place every year. Clearly, it's not going to be enough to build a building. It's not going to be enough to start a new program. Heck, it's not even enough to pay the salary of one person. But we can use it in various areas. The question is, what are the best areas for us to be using this money for? Now you guys get to talk.
Lisa, I have a question. What are we're supposed to use it for? I mean, is it supposed to be for enforcement of law or?
Anything, as long as.
Anything as it addresses the opioid?
Yeah,
Okay.
anything. It can go from, providing additional law enforcement monies to treatment programs to community education. It really can run the gamut so long as we can make the nexus between the money that's being spent and how it will help curtail the opioid epidemic.
If it goes toward community
You have to
education,
talk about Jim Ayers' point.
if it goes toward community education, can that go into like a program for against drugs in the schools?
That's why we have Ms. Mafra here from the schools. That's why I kind of brought everyone from a multitude of disciplines. I'm hoping someone from the city joins us. I did send something, an invitation to the hospital, but given their current tumult, I did not get a response. But I'll continue to reach out to them as well. And like I said, we have a lot of money, at least it looks like a lot of money on paper. I don't see us ever being able to use it as in we're just gonna start a new program. You know, we're just not that big of a county. There are some counties that obviously, the amounts were figured on our size, our number of opioid deaths, which they got through the Iowa State Medical Examiner's Office, which, wow, I wish they would have gotten those, maybe this year rather than the year before. I get batches of autopsy reports. For every 5, I think there's at least 2 that are attributable to opioids in some
In Moines
fashion.
County?
It's usually gonna be old age, or things attributable to people who are of elderly age, or they're under 45, and it's drug intoxication, fentanyl, a mix that didn't mix well. The last one I had, he was 38, he had alcohol, caffeine, which we all have caffeine, methamphetamine, amphetamine, benzos, fentanyl, heroin, and there was another one. Apparently they didn't make a very good cocktail.
He was a walking pharmaceutical.
So I'm just here really to start brainstorming. What I would like for us to be doing is maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, have a core group of people get together, once we kind of figure out where we want the money to go and how we can best implement whatever it is we're gonna use the money for, so that we can then eventually present it to the board so they can approve it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what the thoughts of some programs and things that are going.
I said, I didn't want it to
Like
all
you
be
said-
about me. I could have easily spent this $255,000 just.
Right on, but it's not enough money to have a new building or to do anything new. This is gonna be accent money to accent something that's.
Yeah, how do we supplement other
There you
programming
go,
that's in
supplement money.
place?
So let's hear what, because again, we don't have to supplement just one thing either. We can supplement several things as well to try to get the most bang for our buck.
Because what I would like to see is like, the police department, schools, public health, sheriff department, somebody from them have their own board and decide where to spend it, because you're gonna know better than what us 3 guys up here are. And that would be my suggestion. I'd like to see that, them people on the board do that rather than in the county attorney, so.
Because I know what I would like to use the money for, but it's not my money to spend. We do have a drug court, Nick Baker can attest to this, but the problem I've always seen with our drug court is you're going in a day late and $10 short. because you're getting people who are only going into drug court so they can avoid prison. I have always wanted to see us have a drug court at the associate court level, when we're seeing people first come in with possession of heroin, possession of methamphetamine, possession of whatever it is, and then we're also seeing that accompanied by a myriad of thefts. Theft fifth, theft fourth, they're stealing in order to support their habit. But I would like to see us getting them a lot sooner than by the time we get them in drug court. I don't wanna speak for them, the ones I've seen are so far gone in their addiction, drug court's just a detour on the way to where they're actually going.
Drug court, could you expound on that a little bit more? I don't understand this is for
I'll let him
habitual
do it,
offenders
because
of
it's their
drugs?
program,
that they
it's
just
their
got?
program, so I'll let Nick talk
Sure.
about it.
So a drug court's it's a prison diversion program. So essentially, in order for somebody to qualify for that, they have to be on their way to prison, essentially. And so
Over drug charges or
Correct.
drug-related.
Drug-related,
yeah.
To their drug addiction, really.
Any nonviolent charges, as I understand. But the state, it has to be in a position where but for the drug court, they're going to prison. Their record has to be so bad, they're going to prison.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I'd love to see it get to, before it gets to that point. Not that, sorry to say, I guess drug court's probably here to stay, but.
Is it the same type of drug court? They have one in Lee County, right? It's different
That's
than ours?
ours, it's for the whole judicial
It's
district.
for the whole judicial district, okay. And who funds that judicial district?
Yes. And the other thing about these funds is that we can use them with other grants, other monies, other areas. We don't have to be a standalone. So if it's a situation where somebody has a really great idea on a program where we think maybe the Department of Correctional Services can kick in some state money, or there are some grants through like juvenile justice or whatever, we can always pool that money as well. So it doesn't have to be us being the sole source of the funds.
Man, I'm with Jimmy. I'd love to meet another week or two, well, a couple weeks or first of the year, whatever, and see what ideas you guys come up with. Then we can prioritize, as a group together. Like you said, you guys know better about it than we do, but let's get the most out of those dollars, man. See if we can help in Wayne County.
And if anybody knows who at the hospital would be the contact person, let me know. Like I said, I know they're going through a fairly tumultuous time over there. And whoever I emailed just never responded.
What about the medical examiner? Have you tried the medical examiner?
I thought about that after I already sent out the.
Okay.
But I'll try Megan.
Okay.
So to wrap our mind around the dollars, like right now, there's around 250,000.
255,008 dollars.
And that's over the next 14 years that gets.
That is
allotted.
what we have right now that's in the bank account.
Okay.
That has been
But with-
dispersed.
And with what they're adding on top of that, you're saying that it's gonna average out to
So-
around 45 grand a year?
So J&J has actually made their first 5 years payments. So we won't probably see any money out of them for a while. The distributors have made their first 2-year payments. So this will probably be what holds us for a bit until we see some additional defendants settle. Which I do know, there was a meeting not too long ago where there was anticipation. There was the Mallinckrodt bankruptcy, which we anticipate getting some money out of. They're a manufacturer out of St. Louis. But they decided to go bankrupt when all the litigation happened. And I know the litigants are amongst the creditors who will see some funds, but I just don't know how much those are going to be at this point.
Lisa, can any of this be used on that Southeast Iowa task force?
I would prefer it not be used for law enforcement, and that's just my personal opinion, because they get a lot of funds for this stuff, independent of this. I'd really like to see it go more toward a treatment-focused or prevention-focused.
And that sort of would be my question is, you guys here attribute all those deaths, and all the drug problem and everything, is that a lack of education, knowing what drugs do, just say no, or is it people that think it's not gonna happen to them, or people that just socially start taking something and all of a sudden it gets worse, or a lack of law enforcement because, we aren't, is there any sort of consensus that there's one particular area or two particular areas that?
I think it's a combination of all of those things.
And mental health.
I think, I mean, there's about 5 different programs in my mind that if we had a lot more money, could all use supplemented. I think the task force would be one of them. Having additional help in there would be great. We can use money on CIT, so we could, I guess my goal is to see every officer in the Moines County CIT trained. That training's expensive, it costs overtime dollars. CIT specifically listed in there as money that we can spend on it. But I think there's benefits there. The goal is to get, when officers respond, to be able to get them in contact with the right resources, the right care that they need. Jail diversion, community reentry, we get like 20 hours in Des Moines County from Melissa, having more hours so that those people that are coming out of jail have the right resources, can get in contact with those resources and get the care that they need. That would be beneficial. And then the other thing would be education in our schools, not just like DARE program for the youth, but more into the high school age. Getting in our schools on some level would be, I think, very beneficial. Educating these kids when they're old enough to retain it, to know about these risks. So
I tend to agree with Kevin, especially because remember, it has to be focused on opioids, not just general drugs, not just law enforcement. And my concern with it going into law enforcement, then again, I have my own opinions which are not shared in my household. The law enforcement war on drugs doesn't work. I mean, because clearly it's still happening. I think we do need to be focused more on the mental health side of it, but also education. One of the things I know, my son has a friend who has a tremendous drug problem. He's now burgling houses, burgling cars. He was a kid he grew up with, that he was in sports with, but how it started was he had a shoulder injury. And the doctor said, here, take these for X amount of days. So I truly think at the high school and middle school level of learning how these painkillers that doctors prescribe can truly become problematic for you. College level, but we have to keep it focused on opioids.
There's one issue with mental health. Since the state took over, Senate File 619, I believe, since they took it over, they took over funding of mental health services. So counties are specifically instructed, we got a letter from, what's his name, whatever the state auditor is, said county may not expend any of their resources on mental health services. We can't even pay for something and then be reimbursed by the region. The region makes those expenditures, but it's all funded at the state level. So if it's coming to the county, I question whether we could, for like CIT or some of that stuff, whether that's anything that, some of that stuff I don't know. That would be a question for Lisa or somebody to explore.
those are expenses that when we do the CIT training in through the region, we still have expenses. I mean, we're paying overtime. We're paying those
Overtime, yeah,
things.
yeah, understood.
And obviously, I mean, typically what we do, so with the upcoming training in March, we'll have 4 deputies go to it, but you have to limit it to some extent. And when you have rotation of personnel and you do one training a year or so, because it's the expense of the trainers coming in, it's hard to get people through that training for that reason. So, for me, it's always a multi-pronged approach. I do believe law enforcement works. I wonder where things would be if it wasn't for Des Moines County law enforcement, the task force, and all the officers and the work that they do to prevent this inflow of fentanyl and heroin into our communities, to do all they can. But I do think that there's other areas we need to hit. I mean, we need to hit on the education. We need to teach our youth about it that maybe aren't hearing these things at home, about the risks and dangers of this.
Where are we set up on, I remember back when I was going to school, they had a thing, like a class called like peer pressure class, whatever like that, but I find that to be one of the biggest ones. You can have good parenting, all that stuff, but you get around the wrong kids, man, if you don't have the fortitude to stand up and have that education that, people that are offering you are trying to get you turned on to vices in any way. Once you goes into opioids, they're not your friends, they're not doing any favors. I tell people that all the time. My buddy, yeah, we went and smoked. Well, he's not your friend because he just wants you to cough just like he is. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's doing anybody any favors with this, and I just feel like a lot of the kids that I talk to, which I still do on a regular basis for parents, that the problem that I find is that they got pressured into it by some friend, and I just think the education on that needs to be stronger. And I don't know where we are in Des Moines County on that, you know, to say stand up and say no to that. And I know they've got programs like that, but, you know, maybe we need to buffer that stuff.
For me, I think we've all noticed that the transition over the last several decades, that maybe there's not as positive influences at home as what we'd like to see. So it's about this balance of, if they're not getting those positive influences, how do we get as much in their life as we can, and whether that's through school or sports or other extracurricular activities where we can have programs to get them involved with, to have that positive influence and outweigh maybe what other negatives are happening. But it's limited dollars and big expense on these kind of programs.
I'm hearing
Melissa?
everything that everybody's saying, so I just wanna address a couple points. Are you anybody here from ads? No?
He could not be here
Okay.
today.
So ads does have a prevention team, and in their state contract, they should have life skills. I don't know if they do anymore. When I was there, they did. So that could be something that the money could be used for to help supplement to get them the higher grades. They also have certified trainers in Prime for Life that also goes over like the family history of addiction and what that looks like. And so overall, it's not specific to opioids, but it's addiction. Addiction is addiction. And so that could be also be considered as being a supplement to help ads be able to get into not only the high schools and maybe the junior college, but also athletic departments with the different teams, because you were saying something about, the prescription of meds on someone who hurts their elbow or whatever. But from my perspective now as the Justice and Health Service Coordinator, most of the individuals that I meet with that use substances have started at 9 or 10 or 11 years of age for a multitude of different reasons. And they always, I think I've only had 2 in this year that's had an ACEs score of less than 2, but usually the ACEs score is 7 or above. And ACEs is Adverse Childhood Experiences. So it's a list of 10 questions. Have you experienced these things from ages 0 to 18? And, experienced domestic violence in the home, experienced a parent who has been addicted to alcohol or street drugs, experienced a parent who went to prison, someone who committed suicide. Majority of in both jails, Wise County and Des Moines County, have had at least a 7 or above. So I think there is a group of people that are kind of falling through the cracks, and it's those individuals that either have generational use or some kind of abuse or neglect. So I don't know how that would fit as well. And then in regards to the CIT, thank you for mentioning CIT, because I do think it would be great for that program too. I'll talk to Sarah today to see about, because I'm hearing you, Tom, about your concern about how that would work for funding or any supplements. Because I'm thinking that supplement an agency to hire a couple or increase pay or something for a couple staff to do crisis mobilization to help law enforcement at 2 o'clock in the morning when they have somebody who needs help, because that's the barrier that we have in Des Moines County, well, in the entire region, is, who do they call at 2 o'clock in the morning when someone's having a drug psychosis or mental health breakdown? And so I'll talk to Sarah today to see, and I'll bring that back to the discussion to see what she says. Because I'm hearing about the state funds and CIT and how that works, so.
Well, I think probably the biggest problem we're gonna have is there's a lot of ways to address this. And there's extremely limited funds. It sounds like a big number when you say it, is to get the most bang for the buck. So we could use it here, or could use it here, we could use it here, and then say, it's gonna give it such an impact here, and here, that.
And that's my thought, is if we can find 3 or 4 areas that already exist, that just need a little financial push to really get them over the edge, to me, that would make the most sense with this money.
Well, like I said before, if you're willing to you know, these are the professionals out here that deal with this stuff. And if you're willing to head this up and get somebody from each one of these categories and have them to get together and then bring something back to us, then we can say, yeah,
That's my
that's
plan.
a
That's
good
kind of the
idea.
plan.
So that's what I would like to do.
Rather than having work sessions, just
Yeah.
us have meetings when we
Yeah.
can meet.
So
And
you-
again, what's out there already that just maybe needs a little bit of push.
Yeah.
Or, wow, this program could really do some great things if we had an additional $20,000 a year to play with. I think those are the things we need to be looking at, because I don't think single-handedly we're going to be able to develop any new program or create any new position. Heck, we're not gonna get enough to give them a salary, let alone pay their benefits. I think it would be really important to find those 4 or 5 areas that programs are already working, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's in the schools, whether it's in the hospital, wherever it is, but find those 4 or 5 where if we're just giving 10,000 to each of them, to maybe just give them a little bit of extra cushion, that we can maybe get more bang for their buck, with just a little help.
I agree with you.
But no, I don't mind doing that. So if everyone just wants to, I'll send up whoever you want to be that person from your agency. And then that, just give emails, names, agency, and email. And then it might not be till after the first of the year, as was previously mentioned in the actual meeting, we're hitting budget time, so it's a little busy for some of us. That and the holidays, but after the first of the year, I'd like for everybody to have a meeting. I assume if we get with whoever takes over, that we could use the Board of Supervisors room just as a meeting. And then hopefully within the next couple of months, we can have that list of, these are the things that are going on. I really would like to see some community education. I don't think people, they hear about it. And I think the board is a perfect example when I talk about at the meetings, the fentanyl deaths we have on a regular basis. Now you're getting
Was it 2 out of 5?
Yeah.
Or, does that include elderly, or is that?
The older people that, slip and fall, bump their head, they're just things attributable that you don't unexpect from someone, but there's always at least 2.
2 out of 5.
That are drug related. And fentanyl seems to be becoming the common factor.
That's a scary thought.
But I know with the board, when I first started telling them about fentanyl in Des Moines County, I think you all were kind of surprised to know that it was here, let alone how prevalent it was. And I think that's probably true of the general public. They hear about, well, it seems like we hear about it during elections, that somebody wants to deal with the opioid epidemic, but then nobody really knows, oh, I never really thought about that hydrocodone prescription I got. I didn't think about that as an opioid. I think community education is just extremely important. I know we had a burglary, it's been years and years and years ago. It was not even a young woman, she was in her 50s. A judge sentenced her for forging prescriptions for OxyContin. Gave her a suspended sentence, and then later that day, Nick, you may know about this, that very night, she went and burglarized 7 homes of people she knew would have opioids in their home. And that was, 10 plus years ago at least? 10 to 12 years ago. So it's been here for a while. And I think with opioids particularly, people don't think about it starting with a prescription that my doctor gave. And that's how quick it can happen. Or a kid who's at a party with a friend's house, hey, their mom and dad have OxyContin, let's try one. It happens that quickly.
Okay, well, thanks Lisa for doing it, thanks all you folks for coming here and.
Thanks everybody for coming.
She'll get a hold of you and head something up so we can get rid of this money in a good way. Like I said, you're the professionals, and just bring it to us and we'll sign off on it.
I gotta put some water in my paint cup, Jim. I'll be back.
What's up, Woods?
Hey, how are you, man?
Okay, we're here with the city of Burlington, for workstation on the Dankworth Park Playground Project. Would you gentlemen state your name so we've got this for the record?
Yeah, I'm Chad Bird. I'm the city manager for the city of Burlington.
Okay.
Eric Tislin, Community Development and Parks Director.
John Billups, Mayor of Burlington.
Ryan Gorley, Superintendent of Parks and Forestry for the city.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna turn this over to one of you.
All right, well, I would just open and say thank you for this opportunity to visit once again about county participation in our destination playground. Eric and Ryan and their team have put together a great project and program. Pretty much worked through design and engineering, and they officially kicked off the fundraising stage here. So we're back to just kind of engage a little deeper in that conversation and see what county participation in this destination regional playground might look like.
You've got it's my understanding you've got before the end of the year, you've got a order or.
Our plan is to, before the end of the year, so that we don't see any further
Sure, no,
price
that is the deadline I was aware of, okay.
And your request was?
Jim, I think when we were here last, I originally threw out the number 200,000, but I didn't know if you did that or not.
I remember that. I remember that. That's when I choked on the peanuts.
Hey, could you just, for the people that are watching, just give us a quick, I mean, if this is just a park, you're just doing a park so the kids can have fun, I mean, what's in the park?
We're replacing our, Dankworth's our premier active park in Burlington, probably in Des Moines County. That playground there is 40 years plus old, and we've, over the last few years, had a lot of input, and I know Ryan's worked on this for quite a number of years as well. We've always had that input. Where can I go to bring my kids that's accessible, that's inclusive, and we don't have a playground of that type here in Burlington and Southeast Iowa. Outside of Keokuk's one of the closer ones that's a fully accessible playground. So that really was kind of one of our guiding principles through this playground design, was creating something that's a destination, something that could fit in our most active park in Burlington, but also something that's accessible, inclusive, that all ages and abilities can come and play together, have experiences together. So we have a lot of amenities that are fully accessible: wheelchair inclusive spinner, wheelchair inclusive swing, additional handicap parking, site amenities, poured in place rubber surfacing so that wheelchairs, individuals with mobility needs can access the playground and park. A lot of inclusive elements as well, whether that's musical instruments, areas where kids can kind of go and have peace and quiet under some logs or different areas, but trying to take into account all those different needs in our community that we're not serving right now in our park system in Des Moines County. So that was kind of the driver behind that, but also something that's of a scale where people that visit our community, this is a playground they want to go and visit to as well. It's not just residents, but also visitors, whether they're going to Fun City or the Recplex. This is could be on their list to go visit as well, and another amenity to get people here, to keep people here in Southeast Iowa. So we wanted something that's all inclusive, destination accessible. Those are kind of the key items that we wanted to hit with this playground.
Yeah, I just wanted to, if you were saying, coming to us saying we just want to build a playground and get new equipment, you know, I can assure you that the guy sitting to my left, they would have no part of wanting to listen, and I really wouldn't have anything to listen to that. That's Burlington, do your thing. The all-inclusive is what got me with the handicap. That's where my interest is as a county supervisor, so I just want to make that clear. As far as doing a park or something like that, I'd be totally out on that. Not that I'm against it, but I would be out on a commitment from the county. So I just want to make that clear for the record that, again, I'm wanting to be a participant in this because I know it's going to be all-inclusive and it's going to help people with handicaps, and that's something that we don't have in this community.
And that's something we get calls or questions on quite a bit, is where can I go, and we don't have a place for people to go. And we have mulch areas that technically may be accessible, but they're not fully accessible, and we don't have those type of play elements, the wheelchair accessible swing or spinner or different mobility aspects in any of our playgrounds now in Des Moines County either, so.
Where are you at on this?
I'm at $100,000, man. I feel like it's a big project. I've gone through the numbers with the ARPA funds. I'm at 100 grand.
Well, I'm at 50. 50,000 cells.
Is he looking this way? Is the guy on the end looking this way? Thomas?
And I'm somewhat familiar with these facilities. My grandchildren live in Miami, first big city, and so I've seen those. We've had our grandchildren at those, and I think it would be an excellent amenity for the children of Des Moines County. I would be at 50, but I would be willing to go. And quite honestly, I can't think of anything I've come up anywhere near that in the times I've sat here to participate in something like that. That's but I would vote for $50,000.
Where'd you guys go? Thomas, you know your heart has been expanding all year.
I don't know.
Excuse me, Ryan?
I would like to point out, the social and development of the children that this playground will provide. I mean, it's huge for this community. That's gonna help with crime and other things in the future down the road. And it's just a big deal. This playground is just gonna be fantastic. The tourism that's gonna come to this is gonna be incredible. There are other playgrounds like this in communities around the country that, there's one down by Kansas City. They draw in about 1.4 million visitors a year to that destination playground. And it's just huge, but the social and emotional development that can happen with this playground, it's very, very important for our community.
I would jump on with you on that too, is the difference between this one and maybe some of the other ones that are within an hour, hour and a half, is we hear of people that are driving to those other parks. Our playground facility is gonna be all accessible, have activities for kids that have challenges and have activities for kids that don't, so families can play together. Rather than going to this park for Susie to play and this park for Johnny to play. It's a total inclusive family park. And I do agree. I think we'll see a lot of day tourism, daytime traffic, sometimes overnight, and you're gonna see some increases in spending here in the county, in the city. So it is definitely a tourism type impact item, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, not to mention the park that this is located in, Dankworth, attached to Crapo, 165 acres of fun. There are so many other things that can happen there, and where this is going is it's just gonna increase the play and the visitations to those two parks. And no other playground around the area is attached to an area like that.
Let me ask you a dumb question as a citizen of Burlington. Where does Dankworth start and Crapo end, or what's the, and I see John smiling, this isn't the first time he's been asked this question. Where is the dividing line, or is there a clear?
The dog park, do you know where the dog park's located in the pool?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a tree line right there by the nursing home and the dog
Yep,
park.
yep.
That's the division between the two parks.
Okay.
I could probably said this before, my sixth grade school teacher, her family donated that Dankworth Park. Marjorie Dankworth.
Just to provide a little clarity too, and maybe expand on the idea that it's an all-inclusive playground. It's not just for those with physical disabilities. It'll have sensory type and tactile, musical instruments and things that people can touch and feel and hear and see. And I think that's equally significant in its own right, but when you think about the public library just becoming certified as a sensory center as well, there'd be some opportunity for some cross-pollination and programming for all of those type of tactile and sensory play and education and learning environments.
Just a little note for you. You might not want to bring up the library in front of Jim. It's okay, Jim. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah, my townspeople can't use your library. Even though it's a public library, we can't use
Before,
it, so.
before we go down that road. And I appreciate that, and this is the largest thing that the county, since I've been here, ever said that they'd be willing to do that. This is I think it'd be an excellent amenity. I think it'd be great for the city, I think it'd be great for the county, and, the little towns around here, it'd be great for the kids. But I'm pretty much where I think we can be.
Would you guys meet me in the middle at 75, Tom? Would you consider that?
Shane, we don't-
Thomas, you know you love the kids. Do it for the kids, Tom.
We don't know yet, we haven't got you said you had it figured out on the ARPA money, but we still haven't got a cost on the public health building.
I know that, but I'm figuring in that the public health building goes to 4 million. I'm figuring that in, and I'm still seeing that we could give, I'm seeing up to $100,000. That's what I was saying. Now, again, I'm asking if you guys would meet me in the middle. I ain't gonna fight you guys on it. I can't take both of you.
Talk to Tom.
Thomas,
I'm at 50,000, that's where I'm at right now, because I have no idea where
That,
the dollars are going.
and I thought about it, and I'm at 50,000.
all right.
One request, if I may, I know we've had discussions with our council, they've contributed funds, if we're at the end and we need a small gap to fill, and you guys know where you're at with the health building down the road 6 months from now, could that be something we could at least come back and have that conversation?
As far as I'm concerned, you're always welcome to ask.
Yep.
That's
We've-
don't know what,
very-
understood.
Yeah.
Might get a yes, might get a no.
Yeah, yeah.
I have no idea, but yeah, you're always welcome.
Most definitely, I agree.
We're certainly appreciative of the consideration and any funds that you're able to give, so we certainly appreciate that discussion that we've had now and your comments.
And if you need those before the end of the year, just let us know.
And we've confirmed our purchase, that we don't need payment until it's delivery, so.
Okay.
So this will go on the agenda next week then?
Yeah, I don't know, you
What's
put it
that?
on the agenda next week in resolution?
Yeah. That way it's taken care of before the end of the year.
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot.
much.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
sorry we couldn't do what you, at this time, what you wanted, but say we don't know where we're at.
It's a step in the right direction, so I
helpful.
appreciate
It's
it.
still gonna be a fantastic park for Des Moines County, for the city of Burlington, and that makes me excited, so, thank you guys. Hey, John, quit beating up the city manager. The guy can't even.
Tell you what, he's tough. He's fucking around with the torn.
How long
What'd
ago
you
did you
do?
do that?
So you're
I
done?
tore my Achilles.
Completely.
Complete
We're in his
rupture,
mouth
so-
about the meatloaf Mama made, and she said
That's
he
right,
was
I
boss.
had to go on.
Were you running or just walking?
I was doing a high elevation mountain marathon, is what I'd like to say. I just stepped off a curb wrong.
I was buying into it, that's what I.
Yeah, right, there you go. See, so- sounds better than just stepping off a curb, so.
I
Yeah,
had
let's do
it,
the best of it.
broke my leg, tip break, roller skating out there.
Oh.
Everybody kept asking what happened, so I had a little note typed up, said, Colorado mountain climber.
Yeah, that's right, there you go. Just sounds better, right? Yeah.
It does, that's
Yeah,
what,
that's right.
like your excuse.
Yeah. I'm on the mend, had it sewn back together and off we go, so.
So if they do just sew them back together and
I
take
cut
it up?
into it, sew it back together and all good.
You're probably not old enough to remember them old double wash tubs, you know, that they had the wringer type and they'd rinse and then rinse again.
I am.
My wife, yeah, you are too. My wife had one of them collapse on her, and it cut her Achilles tendon clear in two, and they had to cut her up in the middle of the calf to hook something
What are you
on
doing there?
to push it back down.
Pull it back down, yeah.
Not good.
It's painful, don't recommend it.
Well, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, take care of that foot. Running your mouth there, wife. Hey, you're gonna figure it out eventually.
Right.
What I do? What I JP, you can see, man.
Okay, so this is coming out.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna get out here.
We're going
Thank you. Thank you.
Your hands are always full when you have crutches.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, that's understandable.
Better get healed up